Hoy sin la corrieron de la casa. I need Sierra. Where is Sierra? Godzilla, hi, how are you? Buzz Bros, how you doing? I'm good, Buzz Bros. How are you? Nitro Bot WNC, how you doing?
Two months, I've been eating Huel Instant Milk Cups, and it's changed the game for me. It's as easy as instant ramen, but much tastier. Plus, it has all 26 essential vitamins and minerals, as well as 23 grams of protein in each serving. I personally replaced all my lunches with Huel, and I can honestly say it's made for me. Because when Samsung released the Tab S9 FE and FE Plus, they made things really interesting. But at the same time, choosing which tablet to get might be more confusing, so let's break it down. To make things a little bit easier, let's split these tablets up into two categories, the Fan Edition models and the flagship models. And this makes sense because essentially the features are the same for every tablet in each category, with a few exceptions. And here's a quick look at starting prices. So starting out with the displays, both categories have an aspect ratio of 16:10, which makes them great for watching content, but in terms of specs, that's pretty much where the similarities end. The FE models have IPS LCD displays, which offer a slower 90Hz adaptive refresh rate with a good resolution and pixel density. All three models have dynamic AMOLED displays, which offer
Buzz Bros, I'm good. How are you?
120Hz adaptive refresh rate, a higher resolution.
How was your Monday?
Comparing the same display sizes,
Meli, ¿cómo estás?
¿Qué me cuentas? We're also getting a higher pixel density when comparing the same display sizes, which gives us a sharper image. Now, in terms of image quality, the FE displays are actually quite good, and I'm super happy with the image quality for watching video and for playing games. I also love that we're getting 90Hz versus the 60Hz we got on the Tab S7 FE, which was the last Fan Edition model. But there's no question that the dynamic AMOLED display on the flagship models is the better display. Colors seem to just pop right off the screen. We're getting outstanding blacks, better contrast, and the UI animations look smoother. Now, overall, the advantage in terms of image quality clearly goes to the flagship model, but keep in mind the cost, because the flagship displays are not twice as good as the Fan Edition. All tablets have a similar design with a full aluminum frame and back, but when comparing the tablets of the same size, the flagship models are thinner. Now, I love that Samsung was able to bring IP68 rating down to the FE version. This gives all the tablets protection from water and dust. Now, this is really nice if you take your tablet with you when you travel, or if you take it to school with you every day, but it's also a super nice feature when you're using it around the house and you have a dog with a somewhat aggressive tail. Now, all 5 tablets offer face recognition for biometric authentication and a more secure fingerprint sensor. Now, with the flagship models, we're getting an under-display sensor, and with the FE models, it's integrated into the power button. Now, both sensors have worked really great for me, and they're super responsive and accurate, but I prefer the under-display version because it's more natural to how I hold the tablet. All 5 tablets also have a micro SD card slot, so you can upgrade the internal storage by up to 1 terabyte, and you can use that storage for photos, for videos, for files, and for most apps. Now, continuing to look around the edges, we're getting 4 AKG tuned speakers on the flagship models versus 2 on the FE. And the flagship models absolutely have a more full sound. The audio seems
Hey, can you be like for a couple hours? Maybe so 6.
makes them a better choice
to 1 hour?
if you want to use the speakers on your tablet. Now, another factor to consider is the ability to
Yes, sir.
expand the functionality of each tablet by adding a keyboard case and a stylus. Now, since the form factor of the flagship and the FE models is so similar, the Tab S9 and FE are compatible with the same two versions of the book cover keyboards from Samsung. And the same is true for the FE Plus and the Tab S9 Plus. And then, of course, you can always use an external Bluetooth keyboard with all of these tablets. All 5 tablets also come with a free S Pen, which can be stored on the side or on the back of the tablet, but only the flagship models come with a Bluetooth-enabled S Pen, which offers some wireless functionality for things like camera control and media playback. Now, in terms of the actual writing experience, it's virtually identical, and no charge is required in order to write and draw. It's only needed for the Bluetooth functionality with the flagship models. Now, one of the areas where Samsung had to create some differentiation is with processing power, and there are several critical implications here. So the flagship models come with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, and the FE models come with the Exynos 1380. So let's quickly look at the single and multi-core performance. And here we can see that the Snapdragon chip definitely pulls ahead. We also see it score considerably higher in GPU performance. Now, of course, these are just benchmark scores, so what kind of impact is this going to have during typical real-life use? Well, if you're just surfing the web, watching video, or going on social media, you're definitely going to be able to do that with any of these tablets. But the flagship model
Asteroth. Lustish, how are you?
more responsive. And even if you're just
I'm good, how are you?
on the UI and opening and closing
I'm looking
apps,
at
you're going to notice the difference. And
Android
I
tablets.
expect the flagship models to continue and perform better
To buy for the toggle truck.
because of the additional headroom in terms of performance.
It's like I got a new phone.
More demanding things like photo and video
The
editing.
S24
models
Ultra.
are a more capable option, but
I got an
always
S
keep in
Pen.
mind what you actually plan on doing because you are paying quite a bit more. Now, another area where I definitely noticed a meaningful difference is with gaming. I play a lot of my tablets, and I was really curious to see how these processors would match up. So I was able to play my usual games like PUBG.
I just realized I could use it as a notepad.
And then, of course, some less demanding games. But there was a very obvious difference in both processing power and GPU performance, which did have an impact on my overall experience with more resource-intensive games. Now, using PUBG as an example, gameplay was smoother and more responsive on the flagship models, and I could play with graphics set to smooth and frame rate set to 90 FPS. I could also set graphics anywhere from balanced to HDR and frame rate set to extreme, or Ultra HD for graphics and Ultra for frame rate. With the FE models, I was limited to high frame rate, whether graphics were set to smooth, balanced, or HD, and that was as good as it got, so I definitely didn't get to use the 90 FPS. Now, playing Genshin Impact, I had a very similar experience where it's playable on all 5 tablets, but it
Do you have Android or iOS? iPhone?
performed better on the flagship models, again because of the more capable processor and the additional RAM, which I'll discuss in a minute.